Hello, everybody. It's Marcia, Star Sister from StarSister Astrology, and I'm so excited to be here this morning with my dear friend Annemiek van Helsdingen, who is the founder of the Academy for Soul-Based Coaching. And I was just saying to Annemiek that for as long as I have known her and known about her amazing work, I have felt that, which is all about holding the space where the really deep wisdom, the really clear illumination can come through us. And I have felt, as long as since the very first time I ever spoke with Annemiek, that this, more than anything else, can take us out of confusion and into clarity, out of divisiveness and into a shared understanding and commitment. I really think it speaks more than anything that I know of to the issues and problems that we're all wrestling with now in our world. And so with that, I'd like to say, welcome, Annemiek.
Mm.
It's just great to talk about with you about what you see happening in the world today and how you are experiencing the relevance of this movement you're leading for our world today.
Thank you, Marcia. I always love talking with you, and I'm sure that together we're gonna cover some deep ground. So thank you for the invitation. Yeah.
So what are you seeing coming up in the work that you're doing with people at this now moment? So far, so many ways for all of us.
There's so much of it. So the work that we do in soul-based coaching is that we create this container where we hold space for our clients and then invite their deepest wisdom to come through. Because what we're seeing is that we're so used to going through our lives with our thinking minds, right? And kind of going through that very like step by step, A, B, C kind of thinking. And that's the kind of thinking that we see in our world all the time. But what we see in our sessions is that actually the evolution, the change that is waiting to happen doesn't live in that realm, right? It can be inspired and formed by our thoughts, but that's not where the real inspiration comes from, nor the execution or the potential to make real, to express in the world. Those come from the deeper layers, and that's from our embodied soul knowing. And as soon as we start to tap into that, that's when we start to see new insights, new possibilities arising, even, sometimes within the first three questions. So breaking people's habitual, the loops that we all get into in our thinking and our feeling. And so knowing that that is possible, that we have that available to us, when we then look at like all of the stuff that is happening in our worlds, when we're trying to approach it with our thinking minds, there are no answers, right? There's no clear cut, this is what we should do about, X, Y, Z. Call it COVID, call it climate change, call it, political divisiveness that we're, seeing in like so many places in the world right now. Like on a logical level, we can get onto the barricades and express like one specialized view about that. But usually that's not a lot more than a repetition of things that we've heard others say, and it's kind of like solidified in kind of convictions that like this is the only way. But that's just the mind level talking most of the time. Because when we start to kind of sink deeper into our bodies and start to be curious about what's happening in our deeper knowing, and we bring that curiosity with us into this space where there are no easy answers, then we start to touch on like the field where alchemy can happen. And it doesn't mean that it happens all the time like that and when we want it to, and it doesn't come in like clear like A, B, C, D kind of steps. But that's the field that holds the answers. And I think what I'm seeing in the world is a lot of people who are trying to connect with that level of awareness, with that way of being. Because I also deeply believe that, you know, for the challenges that we're faced with, it's not going to be one person that finds the solution. It's going to be you and me able to be in connection and to stay curious about our own responses, but also the responses of other people who are maybe not thinking like you and me, or who come from a very different background than myself, to stay in that space of openness and curiosity and hang out where it's uncomfortable and unclear, but with a commitment to stay true. I think that's where our answers are going to come from.
There's so much in that as an astrologer, I really resonate with, not to mention as a human being who's in the middle of all this too. And one is that insight, what you just said about it's not going to come from a leader. You know, we're in this huge consciousness transition from a 2,000-year era, the age of Pisces, which was all about tapping into inspiration and the oneness, but it was also about just trusting and kind of, you know, following a leader often. But now, as we move into the age of Aquarius, and we see this in reality, our problems are so huge that one person, even one person in each country, is just not going to be enough to, you know, hold it all. It's going to take all of us. And that really is, you know, intrinsic to the Aquarian vision. But even more, that insight that we can't solve these at the level of the mind. And as an astrologer, and what every astrology chart, you know, shows us is we're not just our mind. We're connected to the whole universe more than we could ever hold in our mind. And yet in our culture, we've really mostly focused on meeting things from this one part of ourselves, not from the deepest part of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so beautiful that you're seeing all of that so clearly in the charts. And I think there's you know, that kind of that part, it's brought us very far, right? In the last 2,000 years, a lot has happened that has brought us, you know, so much comfort and so much well-being. But I think we're very clearly seeing the edges of that now. And there's
it's not that we need to get rid of it.
no,
We just
no.
need our whole selves, our whole being,
Yeah.
and ways to access them. And that is the beauty, I think, of what you're doing, the work you're doing with so many people.
Yeah, and I think this is where it gets to be really magical in the sense that I don't mean like airy fairy, non-grounded magical, but it's we start to see what humans are capable of, right? With every client that I work with, I see how, you know, and in a way, our clients' inner worlds are like, you know, like with you, it's like they're like a subset of this big mystery, right? It's like the whole mystery is playing out in each one of us.
Yeah.
And it's like being able to, having seen so many people go through big transitions in a way that my logical mind might not be able to explain, but it is undoubtedly so. We can see the results, we can see what happens for people. And you know, their minds are part of the alchemy mix, right? So it's like, just like you say, it's not that we're not going to think anymore. It's just that in this space there is like 100 million times more available than just logical thought. And it takes practice to be in that space. And I think this is why I'm so committed to this work. It's not, just kind of drink this and then all is well, and then you'll know. This is a way of coaching, but a way of being and a way of living that invites us to step into relation with the mystery every time, and to surrender to the fact that we don't know where it's going to go exactly. We don't know how exactly we're going to be there. But this is why we speak about midwifing. And I think this is what we're doing. We're midwifing each other. We're midwifing the birth of a new era, a new world. And it's we are both the baby and the midwives all at the same time, and in that together. And this is how it's going to happen. There's no other way.
I just want to go back to that because I think it's so important. I feel it in myself all the time. Like we can have a flash and awareness that we need a different way, and oh, this is the way. But as long as it's what makes it not only an idea, but a felt reality, it's exactly what you're talking about. We practice it, we develop it, we choose, and that's what you're offering, a space where we can learn how to respond to whatever is coming up with these techniques. I know you're the Academy for Soul-Based Coaching, and you're specifically training coaches, but I kind of feel like we're at the point now where no matter what we're doing, there needs somewhere in there to be a soul-based coach for ourselves and others.
Yeah, and I think that, this is why we host, we host a year-long certification training, but we also host quite a few free training programs, because just as you say, like these skills are so relevant for everyone, whether anyone who's interacting with other human beings and with themselves can really benefit from these skills. So, and this is something that I see with everyone who goes through our programs, and with myself, right? My life is not the same ever since I've been starting to do this work. And, been in the coaching business for like 25 years, or in the craft of coaching, I should say. I've been teaching coaches since 2007, so also for quite a while. And what I've noticed is that, the way that I show up in my relationships, the way that I show up when I go and get groceries, the way that I show up when I'm meeting someone in the street who's walking their dog, the way I show up in family meetings, the way I show up with my doctors, all of that is informed by and made possible by the skills that I've honed. Because a lot of the skills, and it sounds so easy, but Marcia, really, there's like, I still learn. It's all about learning to be in a space where I can really listen to myself and really listen to the other person, and keep being in this frame of curiosity. What's happening? What's happening for you? What's happening for me? What would you like to have happen? What would I like to have happen? And to be in communication around that.
Annemiek, I'm just having this wonderful vision. I'm really going to hold space for this one, of you working with the US Congress.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be absolutely, well, fun. That would be really interesting for sure.
And game-changing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to imply by saying that only people at the top of some structure can change the world. We're all part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reading a blog today from someone who is a well-known copywriter, and she was talking about how everybody's saying that, how they want to change the world, and how that it was, how that was not a good thing, and it was just blah, blah. And I was reading that, I was like, you know what? I think it's our job. I think it just is our job to do our bit. And when I say that, the work that we do is changing the world, it's because I see in me and everybody who's training with us and clients that we can support, that things are shifting in a way that are so supportive of a new way of being together. And does that make us perfect? No. Do we have all the answers? No. It's about having these midwifing skills that make it, so much more juicy. And I think that if we don't change the world, there's not going to be a world left, honestly, right?
Yeah.
It comes down to that level. And I think that it's we work from a systemic perspective, which means that we look at our clients like inner world as a system that is comprised out of lots of things that are all influencing each other, and a client who's part of a bigger world, again, which is systemic, which all about, because astrology is as systemic as it can be. And so when we're working with systemics, we're often sometimes we're saying, like, it's like broccoli. In broccoli, how like the little pieces, like the ends of the broccoli, when you look at them through a microscope, they look like a broccoli, right? So it doesn't matter where you start. It's like when you start to work here with this one person, or even with yourself, you're impacting on the whole broccoli. And that's what we need. Like, so if when I'm saying we're changing the world, it's not to say, again, like we have all the answers. It's like, I know that we're changing the dynamics and the conversations that are happening. And that is at the heart of what we need to be doing. And we're opening this dimension, and that can sound really woo, but I'm just we're opening a different
It doesn't get any more woo than talking to an astrologer.
Oh, that's
I think you're talking to a very woo-friendly.
Fair enough. But it's like, we're making it possible to work at a level, or in a dimension, or in a space that we didn't have access to easily before, and now we do. And it is like an easy way of helping people connect to their inner knowing. And it's like, this is one of the things that is so important to me personally, because I do not believe in gurus. I do not believe in deferring authority. I don't believe in that anyone would have my answers. I can be inspired by people for sure, but we are all here to make our own decisions, and we all have our own responsibility. And so the way that we work is very much about helping our clients find their own truth. And we're extremely clean in that. And with clean, I mean that we're making a very distinct separation between what I think and feel as a person and what I'm doing for my client. So as an example, we will only ever use the words that our clients use in our conversations. We have a set of questions, which might sound very strange and limiting, but actually it opens the whole universe because of that. And because of the way that we can do that, it means that our clients don't have to dilute their wisdom with our thoughts and words and language, and they don't have to be distracted from their own inner knowing. And this is where it gets to be really juicy really quickly.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is so important there. And I love the analogy of the broccoli. I think that's going to really stick with me because it's so visceral. But it's, we have for thousands of years, I mean, we're at we're downstream from thousands of years of a culture that's all about, this is the truth because the most powerful person says it's the truth. And that's another reason that we need spaces where we can unlearn all the ways we've been influenced by thinking change the world means somebody's going to force something to happen. Because what you're talking about is really the most profound allowing something to happen that we could never control or would never want to control because it has its own intelligence.
Yeah, and trusting that there is so much, for lack of a better word, goodness in that. There is so much intelligence that has, and I see this again and again, it has our well-being at heart. And so there is this sense of, and this is why it's called soul-based coaching. It goes to the soul of us as humans, we're part of this bigger whole, right? We're going to have to do this together. We're already doing it together. And to unlearn these structures and dynamics that we've been part of for so long, right? That's inside of our DNA. That's going to take us doing it together. And it means that, we have to be willing to be in the not knowing, but to be in that together. And I think there's a lot of us that feel like we don't know anymore what's going on or what we should do, or like, but to actually be in that space from your own personal perspective. So not a generalistic, like, this is what's going on and we should all know. Right now, this is what's happening for me. And within that, what would I like to have happen? And to start exploring from that place in connection. That's when we can start to see new things. Because I love what you were saying about like that one powerful person, dictating truth for everyone else. I think we have to unlearn that on a very, like a bodily level, right? Because there is still within us the idea that our mind holds the truth. And it just doesn't. It can be very influential. It can have very good ideas. But just the fact that we're thinking things does not make them true. It really doesn't. And this is like a mini, you could look at it as a mini experiment, like unlearning the importance that you're offering to your mind's churning.
Wow.
And to learn how to be in a relationship with all of you.
And that's where it starts, isn't it? Like, learning to be in relationship with all that's coming up for us helps us then to be in relationship with all that's out there around us.
Yeah. And of course, all that's going on in me is influenced by all that's going on around there. So it's like a continuous feedback loop. And as long as we keep being in the same frame of mind, like in the same frame of being, we're going to be feeding the old paradigm by lack of a better word. So every time that we knowingly step out of that, and it doesn't mean detaching, right? It doesn't mean ignoring what's happening. It doesn't mean denying what's going on, right? Because there are people in hospital, there are people who are ill, all of this is true. It is happening. With all of that, okay, let's bring us back to us. Let's practice being with all of that.
Yeah.
Let's practice the heartbreak. Let's practice being with the desolation or the frustration. Let's practice with the inspiration that can come up within that, right? And let's not be tempted by our minds to go, well, and then this is the new paradigm. Here's the solution. Right?
Yeah.
Stay in here together with that curiosity and that willingness to not know and to trust that things are happening, that they are surfacing. And at some point there's and we can already see small pockets of that, but like when we look at how evolution works, when I look at it on a just a client level, it means that at some point a momentum gathers towards a certain actions, towards certain ideas, and great, that's the next level of the client's way of being, and that will hold until there's a next level. And this is what we collectively need to be doing, to be in that space, determined to be and stay in connection.
I really feel like if there's just one thing that we can do to open the bridge and create the bridge and be the bridge to a good future, it's exactly what you're talking about. So I'm so excited you're offering this free 5-day training, Annemiek.
Yeah.
Inspired timing. And what a generous offer.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Is that what that's going to be?
Yeah, we've done it before in the spring, and people were so happy with what they were receiving. So we're like, okay, well, we're just going to do it again and make sure that as many people can benefit from these skills as we can think of. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to really offer some foundational skills and tools from soul-based coaching, which mean that you can hold yourself in a different way in your daily life, but also in your communication with others. And so what we're doing is the course is called How to Midwife Soul-Based Change and Have the Impact That You're Meant to Have. It is aimed towards coaches and healers, but as you were saying, these skills are useful for anyone who feels like, hey, I would like me some of that to be in a different relationship with myself or with my partner, with my kids, with my colleagues, with my clients. So please feel welcome. And what you'll really do is these are 5 days of live Zoom trainings. We're varying time zones so that people from all around the world can attend live at different days. And we're going to give you a chance to really experience what it means to work from the inside out, from your clients inside out. And we're going to start by holding space and to really deepen our ability to hold space, because, holding space is starting to become a bit of a buzzword. But it is a practice. It is a practice I've been engaged in actively every day for 10 years now, and ongoing. There's new kind of parts of ourselves that can open up as we keep doing that. And then we're going to do some more things to really help you be in that space where you can hold that change process for people and not get in the way of it. And where we can stop doing the cookie cutter, this has worked for me, so it will work for you, or this has worked for them. And let's learn to be with our clients as they are in this moment, exactly as they are, so that our clients don't need to change, but we can help them find their own change.
It really means a willingness to experience something new.
Oh,
to
yeah.
see something new. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, we often say that we're turning the coaching paradigm on its head, and we really do. And we can talk about it till the cows come home, as we might say. But really, the only way to find out about it is to experience it. Because this is like that layer that I was talking about that we're entering, we don't really have language for it. In a way, you could say that this is where the field of coaching meets shamanic journeying. And without some of the side effects or risks that you might get into.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think the timing is really perfect. We've just started a new cycle, a new 2-year cycle with the planet Mars, with our drive, our energy, our motivation. And Mars, who's all about doing it, is in the sign of Libra. So, like we're moving into a 2-year cycle of learning to the more we can act with the other person in mind, with other truths in mind, the more creative and successful we're going to be. So, as an astrologer, I would say you're kind of offering the training that's going to help us take actions that really make a difference over the next years. And they're going to be game-changing 2 years for the planet.
Yeah, I'm rooting for all of us, and I absolutely agree. The skills, even in the free training, are so worthwhile to find yourself in a space. It's not going to take the edge of the not knowing of the phase that we're in, but it is going to really help you navigate that phase. Yeah.
So I'm going to include the link for people to sign up on everywhere I post this or share it with others. And that's what all people need to do, right? Click on that link and they can sign up.
Yeah, it should be really easy. And we're very happy to have you. Starting on October 25th. Yeah. And then we have like 5 days of juicy training. The 29th is going to be a really special day. And then we're going to have a dessert on the 30th as well. But we'll let you know more about that when you sign up.
Well, I'm definitely going to be there.
Mm.
And I hope lots of people who are in my wonderful community will be too. I can't wait.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Annemiek. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else you want to say or add that we haven't touched on?
No, it just feels like so, it feels so relevant, right? It feels so important.
Yeah.
So, maybe people that are listening, if you're aware of other people who are in the same kind of space that you're in, please invite them too, because we want this to be available for as many people as possible, because we all need each other to have these skills.
And we all need the wisdom that we haven't yet connected with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.